Hey, you know who it is. Zeus Cruz of Olympian Multimedia, and we are presenting you with another episode of Get Things Done. This particular segment and all segments moving forward, we might be doing things a little bit different here when it comes to this episodic series where we're going to be more tailoring it to being like a vlog, basically, where I kind of bring you into my creative world, guys, as far as how I go about doing different projects. And hopefully, by you viewing this, you get a little bit of insight, some inspiration, some motivation to go about with your projects. In today's segment, we're going to be discussing about writing. And as you guys know, I'm an author. I'm a very proud author. I am extremely ecstatic, proud, grateful that I had the opportunity to thus far publish 11 books. As you guys know, I fall into the realms of poetry, right? Very in-depth poetry, sort of like a storytelling method when it comes to that. But I also do the short stories as well. I kind of wanted to use this as a way as a confession, right? For some people out there that they do know of this piece of information I'm about to give. A lot of you don't. But I'm always trying to involve myself, right? And push myself as a writer, right? There's all kinds of different ways to write, different methods, different styles. So I'm always trying to push myself because I love the challenge, right? So I took it upon myself for my 12th book that, yes, I was going to write my very first novel. Yay for me. But unfortunately, guys, it's not going to happen. And I know it's like, oh, Zeus, why? Why is it not going to work out? I'm pretty sure you could figure it out. Here's the thing. The novel that I was going to write was entitled this, Olympian Anew, a modern tale. And the concept and the premise was very interesting to me. I felt like it was something that hasn't been done before. So it's basically I was incorporating mythology with like a crime drama. Very far ends of the spectrum when it comes to the genre, but I was going to try to make it work. Make a long story short, I went ahead and wrote 9 different treatments to see where I can go with the book. Right? Each treatment was roughly over 100 pages that I was writing. And I didn't like any of them. I thought they were all horrible. I did allow a few other people to read it, and they gave me their assessments, mostly positive. You know, they had their critiques here and there. But nobody is a worse critic than myself. And that's probably for anybody out there. If you're a creator, you're probably your own worst critic, right? Everything you do is just not up to par. And sometimes it actually is some good work you're putting out, but because you critique yourself so hard and you only allow yourself like this really small window here for mistakes, right? That you look at everything in such a vacuum where it's just like, no, I could do that better. No, I could do that better. No, I could do that better. Unfortunately, me going through writing the story 9 different ways, and after 100 pages, it just wasn't working out for me. And I just feel like if I'm not comfortable with what I wrote, how I expect readers, the audience, you guys, to read my work and really be in tune with the story and really enjoy it. What was the issue, Zeus? The main issues was, and hats off and kudos to all you novelists out there that's able to write these stories and create these little book series. You guys are amazing because I can't do it. It's really hard. The biggest thing with me was 2 things. Number one, to continue to make the story cohesive. I was not doing that. The story was not fluent. I noticed going into like, if I'm writing the next chapter and I'm like halfway through it, I kind of was like, you know what? Let me slow down a little bit and let me reread the previous chapter or the previous pages, just to make sure that everything has some flow to it. And it doesn't. It's like I got certain parts on there, it just wasn't going with the story. Certain events that I was describing should have happened a little bit later on and not at the point where I was writing it. And then the dialogue. The dialogue just did not seem organic. It didn't seem natural at all. And some of the dialogue between the characters, and then I'm injecting a new character, and I didn't really explain where that character came from. There's also instances where I was like writing like different scenes within the chapter, like different events that would come up, but I didn't provide any kind of a backstory. So to me, as I'm reading it, and I'm pretty sure if another person read it, they're gonna read it like, well, how the hell did this happen? Like, how did we get to this point? Because it just seems like everything is fast paced. Everything is just trying to happen very quickly. And I just feel like the reader will spend too much time trying to get up to speed. It's a tough break when you're reading a book, right? And then you're reading through a chapter and it's kind of like you got to stop and go almost reread the book again. Because you're just like, the story just don't have no flow. It's like all over the place. It's too much going on and there's not enough information, not enough of a backstory to get a real grip and an understanding of what is going on, right? So after 9 tries and nearly 1,000 pages, I said to myself, this is just not my thing. And I know for some people out there, and this is meant to be like encouraging, I know for some people out there, whatever your art form is, you'll end up doing several times, and after a while you want to give up because you're just like, what is going on here? I have such a passion for this, right? Especially for myself. I wrote 11 books, right? So it's just like, you did a whole bunch of rewrites before, Zeus. So what's the big deal with this one? You know what I mean? You'll figure it out at some point. You just got to keep working at it. But sometimes, guys, you have to come to the understanding that it's like you're just not good at a certain thing. You have a weakness. There's limitations. Now, that don't take away nothing from me from being a writer. I think I'm a decent writer. I can always improve. I'm always looking to improve. But in the case of writing a full-fledged novel that's a few hundred pages, and I got to make this story sound really interesting, and I have to have the reader captivated by what I'm writing, unfortunately, I just wasn't capturing the magic at all. And yes, I could have went ahead and did a temp treatment 11th, 12th, 13th, 20th time. But why waste so much time and energy towards something that you know? It's not about the passion. It's just, I'm not good at writing a very full-length story, let alone writing it over a series of books. That's not my strength. My strength is more smaller bodies of work, right? The poetry, doing it in a storytelling way, doing the short stories. And I actually enjoy writing them. It's just, I get too ambitious where I want to explore more and push myself to the limit. And sometimes pushing yourself in the limit, sometimes it's a good thing to do that, because then you get a better understanding of yourself and what you can or you cannot do. Unfortunately, I can't do the novel thing. And as much as I want to do Olympian and Nil, and by the way, I am going to still do it, but it's going to be in a short story form. Just to expand it into a novel, it's just not going to happen. So kudos to the women, men and women out there that's able to be a full-fledged novelist and put these stories out. I tip my hat to you guys, because I don't know how you do it. I can't do it. It's just too much to incorporate, to make sure the dialogue is good, to make sure the story is cohesive, to make sure the character development is there, to make sure like you explain the backdrops, the settings appropriately, so people can kind of like visualize as they're reading. It's a lot involved with it. And unfortunately, I can't do it in a way where like over multitude of chapters and hundreds of pages still make it interesting enough to be like, okay, I'm invested in this story, let alone to do it through multiple books. If I show you on here though, it's all about taking a positive out of the negative. So as you see here, I keep a whole bunch of notes. You guys know I usually keep a notebook with me right now, jotting down different thoughts and ideas that come up. But I also do it by way of Google Keep, which is just a simple notepad app that you can utilize. And as you can see the titles here, these are some of the titles to my new book, which I'm going to stay in the confines of what I'm good at, which is the short stories. So I'm going to be doing my next book is it's going to be a collection of short stories. I'm pushing the limit though. I'm pushing the bar as far as the stories, making them more chaotic, more abstract, more like, oh my goodness, Zeus, what do you have going on here? What is going on with your mind? I kind of want that kind of feel for you guys when you read it. Be like, you might need some psychological help. We don't know, Zeus, but you got a lot going on with these stories. I'm just trying to push the ant when it comes to that. You know what I mean? So as you can see here, this is one story that it's pretty much done. All of the short stories that I'm going to put in this next book is pretty much done. Probably just got to clean up a few things. But as you can see here, I pretty much put together like a rough draft. And as I go about typing up the story, I start adding like more ideas to it to just kind of expand on it. Right? So as of right now, with the new book, it's going to be 15 stories altogether. It's going to be 13, and then I'm going to add like 2 bonus ones to the book. As far as Olympian and New, what I was talking about earlier, as you notice here, this is basically a treatment that I wrote for it. And you can see how in depth that I did it, where I had the layouts, I had the premise. These are all the different characters, recurring roles. These are characters that are going to be in the book, but they're not necessarily like lead characters. I broke down the different crime families. I broke down like their titles, like a sort of like a hierarchy type of thing. Broke down some more characters that will be in there. Different other elements that will be incorporated in the book. And then I pretty much I put them in the episodes, but they're basically like just a short premises on how I would want the book, because it was going to turn into a series with 3 books. So I kind of gave myself a premise for each one with a train of thought that I could concentrate as I went around with the book. This is still going to happen. As you see over here too, look what I got, guys. I got a whole bunch of notes on how I'm going to do the story. And that's what you want to do. Here's some more notes when it comes to Olympian and New. And that's what you want to do when you find a positive out of a negative. When I was going through it, I seen bits and pieces with what I wrote when it came to that particular novel, where I was like, you know what? Maybe not in this setting, but I could actually take this portion and create a different type of story within a different type of genre. So I didn't take it all as, I wasted all this energy and time trying to put all this stuff together, and then I can't utilize any of this stuff. No, I actually could take some parts here and then start crafting other stories. I think that's my strength, because I got so much going in my brain at one time. It's like 10, 20, 30 different ideas. It's almost like 10, 20, 30 different voices rumming around in my head. And I think that goes better with my skill set, being that my brain is always active that way. I don't have it enough to just concentrate on this one story, because it's like I have all these other ideas that I kind of like want to put my hand to the fire towards. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. So it's just to play to your strengths. I think I thoroughly enjoy writing the short stories. Here's some more notes. for a couple more. These two that you actually see here are actually going to be the bonus stories for the book. And that's what I'm saying when it comes to that, just finding that positive out of the negative. I was able to kind of morph that novel into creating my new book with these new short stories. And it allowed me to like really be more experimental, right? And really think outside the box on how I can be even better with the stories and more in depth with the stories versus the Imagination series that I just put out, right? With mixtures, dimensions, and vivid interpretations. Felt like there were some good stories there, but there definitely was a few on there where it was just like, I could do a little bit better, right? So taking all that in and seeing the mistakes you made, things that you can do better, not being like a deterrent or a way of being like, this is my way of quitting, I should just be done with it all. It's just like it lit a new fuse in me. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I get to get these new stories out and hopefully people will really appreciate it, right? So for anybody who's aspiring to write, just take it as if you're using a body of work or you've written a body of work over a multitude of pages, it's not to say you can just have to throw that away. You can easily make note of what you have done, and then you can start dictating new stories. And over time, you get an understanding as you're developing your story and putting it together, what you can use, what you can't use, so forth and so on, right? I do give a recommendation, though, when it comes to short stories, is utilizing illustrations, right? So I'm giving you guys a sneak peek on one of the illustrations that we're going to be using inside the book. And that is one of them. Obviously, you guys know I'm a big horror fan, so that's a big component when it comes to my stories. It's a lot of horror and a lot of mythology. But this is an example, as you can notice there, we got the Hybrid Tales, which is the name of my new book called Hybrid Tales. Look out for it. It's going to be coming soon. I don't have a date or anything like that. I just know it's coming soon. Still putting stuff together. But I definitely recommend you put some illustrations with your short stories. It always helps out to kind of give that quick visual, being that it's a short story. Within the confines of it, you got to be a lot more quicker as far as getting to the plot, getting to the point of the story, right? Your dialogue has to be a lot more precise, a lot more head on, right? And you can't spend too much time describing every little thing that's going on in your story. The backdrops, the characters, so forth and so on. Everything has to be a lot more condensed, but it can happen. And sometimes what can help you get to there or allow the reader to get like sort of like an understanding going into your story, maybe just provide some illustrations so they kind of get an idea of what's going on with that, right? Why not? I'm gonna go ahead and give y'all another one. I can't give y'all too much here. I feel like I'm giving out too much here, but I'll give you another one. And as you notice, we got it right there in that corner over there, Hybrid Tales. So even with these illustrations, you already have like a quick kind of idea of where I'm going with the book. But it's always helpful to do that. Just understand when you're doing short stories, it's a lot more concise. You're going to have to, more concise, you have to be more to the point and more direct. But I take a lot of inspiration from my favorite author, H.P. Lovecraft. He's known for his short stories, mostly from the horror genre, right? But when you read his short stories, they felt like full-length novels. But he took the most simplistic thing, but he put so much substance into his story, it felt like you read a whole entire novel. And that's kind of like the direction that I'm going. And I kind of utilize the illustrations as a pivot, right? Just before you get into the story to get an understanding of like what my thought process is and what you're about to get into with the story that you're about to read. So that's about it. I just wanted to share with you guys my personal thoughts. Yes, I wish I could go through with the novel. Maybe sometime down the road I'll come back to it again. Right now, I just feel like I have to stay in tune with my abilities and what I'm really good at. I don't want to get into something where my passion is being taken away and I lose my love for writing. Sometimes you push yourself too hard to the point where it's like, now you don't want to do this no more. There's no love, there's no passion for it. I am done with this and I never want to do that. Writing is a part of me. It's as natural as the air I breathe. It's part of me. I don't think I can go a day without writing something. You know what I mean? At least a page worth of something. So I don't want to get to that point where it's just like it's not a part of my life no more. So that's why I'm choosing not to write the novel. I'm just going to stick to what I'm good at or what I feel like I'm good at. And that's the short stories. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope this inspiring and was beneficial for you guys, especially those who are looking into writing your first book or you're trying to continue with your craft of writing or with any art form. You know, don't look at it as a failure. Just look at it like you're more in tune with yourself, right? You have a real understanding of what your strengths are, but also your weaknesses. Remember, your weaknesses can turn into strengths. In this case, I'm not a novelist, but now I can concentrate on being a very stronger short story writer. That's how I'm looking at it. Take the positive out of the negative. I appreciate you guys tuning in. You know who it is. Zeus Cruz, Olympian Multimedia. And the only thing left to say is get things done. Check you later.